The Legend of Ba Den Mountain. Around the 18th century, during the era of the Wind Lords, the land that is now Tay Ninh was still a wild and remote region. Dense forests stretched endlessly, wild animals roamed freely, and human settlements were sparse. Yet the people who lived there were gentle, honest, and simple, relying on farming, the forested mountains, and a deep belief in heaven, Buddha, and the unseen spiritual world. At the foot of the highest mountain in southern Vietnam lay a small village nestled between rice fields and ancient trees. In that village lived a virtuous family, respected by all for their upright conduct. Their daughter was named Li Thi Thien Huang. She possessed a graceful appearance, skin darkened by the sun and wind of the highlands, and eyes that were gentle and pure. She was admired not only for her natural beauty, but also for her filial piety, modesty, and unwavering faith in Buddhism. From a young age, Thien Huang often accompanied her mother to the mountain to worship at the pagoda. She knew every winding path, every ancient tree whose roots clung to stone, every moss-covered cliff along the way. Standing before the towering mountain and watching the white clouds drift slowly across its peak, she firmly believed that sacred spirits dwelled there, silently protecting the righteous and punishing evil. In the same region lived a young man named Tran Minh, the son of a military family. He was well educated, skilled in martial arts, upright in character, and rich in a sense of honor. He met Thien Huang during a spring pilgrimage to the pagoda. From simple greetings, a sincere affection gradually blossomed between them. Their love was pure and genuine, and both families approved, agreeing to arrange their marriage on an auspicious date. However, life rarely follows a smooth path. Before the wedding could be set, the royal court issued an order to conscript soldiers for a distant military campaign. Carrying great ambitions to serve his country, Tran Minh asked to postpone the marriage and volunteered for military service. On the day of parting, the two stood together at the foot of the mountain as the wind swept across the land and clouds drifted lazily above. Tran Minh held Thien Huang's hand and promised to return and fulfill their bond. Though tears fell from her eyes, she nodded in silence, giving him her hairpin as a token of eternal faithfulness. After Tran Minh departed, Thien Huang continued her daily life as before, caring for her parents and regularly visiting the mountain pagoda to pray for her beloved's safety. One afternoon, after worshiping at the pagoda, she began her descent as the sun was setting. Along the quiet forest path, she did not realize that wicked eyes were watching her from the shadows. A group of bandits who hid deep in the forest noticed her walking alone and were seized by evil intentions. They followed her, blocking her path and threatening her. In panic, Thien Huang fled, climbing steep, rocky slopes, thorns tearing at her clothes, her breath growing short, her heart pounding wildly. The wind whistling through the trees sounded like mournful cries echoing through the wilderness. Cornered at the edge of a high cliff, with a bottomless abyss shrouded in mist before her and her pursuers closing in behind, Thien Huang fell to her knees. Facing heaven, earth, and the Buddha, she prayed with all her heart, begging to preserve her honor and purity. She vowed that she would rather die than live in disgrace. With those words, she closed her eyes and threw herself into the abyss as the wind roared around her. Several days later, villagers followed the traces and discovered Thien Huang's body at the foot of the mountain. Strangely, her body remained intact and her face was peaceful, as if she were merely sleeping. Everyone was overcome with grief and sorrow for the fate of such a virtuous and innocent young woman. A temporary altar was erected, and incense was burned in her memory, filled with both sorrow and reverence. From that time on, mysterious events began to occur on Ba Den Mountain. At night, people reported seeing faint lights, like sacred torches, illuminating the mountainside. Travelers who lost their way in the forest were often guided safely home by an unseen presence. Those who harbored evil intentions suffered misfortune, while those who prayed sincerely found protection and peace. Many years later, Tran Minh returned home after achieving great merit in military service, eager to reunite with his beloved. Instead, he was met with the devastating news of Thien Huang's death. Overwhelmed by grief, he climbed the mountain and knelt by the cliff where she had sacrificed herself, remaining there for 3 days and 3 nights without food or water. On the 3rd night, Thien Huang appeared to him in a dream. She was radiant, dressed in pure white, her voice gentle and calm. She told him that she had died innocent and undefiled, that heaven and the Buddha had borne witness, and that she had been granted the power to remain as a sacred spirit of the mountain. She urged him not to dwell in sorrow, but to continue living for the people and the nation. When he awoke, Tran Minh built a shrine on the mountain and told the full truth of what had happened, clearing Thien Huang's name. From then on, the villagers worshipped her wholeheartedly, calling her Ba Den, a name both affectionate and reverent, honoring her dark sun-kissed skin and her sacred spirit. Through the generations, Ba Den repeatedly manifested her spiritual power to protect the people and the royal troops stationed in the area. Upon hearing these accounts, the king bestowed upon her the title Lin Sun Than Mao, the sacred mother of the holy mountain, and ordered the shrine to be restored and honored, officially recognizing her divine virtue. To this day, Ba Den Mountain remains one of the most important spiritual centers in southern Vietnam. Each year, countless pilgrims journey to the mountain, offering incense and prayers for peace, health, harmony, and prosperity. The mountain continues to stand majestically against the sky of Tay Ninh, silently witnessing the passage of history and eternally preserving the spirit of a young woman who transcended mortal suffering to become a revered, sacred mother.